to be in yet another conversation all around advancing that digital workforce. I'm Alan Dale from Gale Force Winds, and I really enjoy this whole conversation, helping people find their future in tech. So, fellas, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself. So, Neil, why don't you go ahead?
Sure. Hi, my name is Neil. I'm the CEO and founder. I've got a startup that I'm currently busy with. It's called Meteor. It's not online at this stage. It's very early stage, but yeah, I'll keep you guys in the loop as it progresses.
And what does that company do, Neil?
So what we want to do, we want to do metrics measurement for, it's basically a specialized, or it's a very niche market, and it's focused at enthusiast PC users and pro gamers.
Great. Ajay, how about yourself?
Ajay Pande, Director of Digital Engagement here at Kean College. We're advancing the digital workforce and looking at upskilling employees and students with skills they need for the digital era.
You know, a lot of conversation of late around that whole digital transformation of the workforce. Neil, you're a guy that's on the front edge of all of this stuff. Tell us what that whole digital transformation of a workforce looks like to you.
So, we're currently in Newfoundland, and, geographically it's very far apart. People are very sparse located. But if you look at the community in Newfoundland, it's a very tight-knit community. And, looking at our businesses in Newfoundland, specifically if you're looking rural where I'm on the West Coast, the digital transformation, it's something that needs to happen. And what I'm seeing is, companies that do not, that does the digital transformation, they kind of get left behind. So it's a very important step, for businesses moving forward.
Yeah, Neil, I'm picking up your accent there. I know you're on the West Coast. I'm not sure if that's from Corner Brook or Curling, but I do, I'm just joking with you, Neil, there. Anyway, a great explanation of that whole digital transformation for sure. It's going to require another level of literacy, I would argue. So, Ajay, from the academic standpoint, just give us a little bit of an overview of what digital literacy looks like.
Yeah, digital literacy can be different things for different people. Like if you're in the technology sector, it could be about enabling you to create products and services in a way that's more cohesive, more reliable, more secure. Conversely, if you're working in other organizations, it might be digital literacy, understanding how do you leverage AI to do things more efficiently? How do you understand the ethical constraints of AI as well? So it means different things for different sectors, but there is a gap here in Newfoundland and Labrador, and this investment that we've gotten through ESDC is really about closing in on that gap from a digital literacy perspective and empowering people and employees to have the skills that they need moving forward.
Now, of course, as you're doing that in creative ways through this whole micro-credential things, a lot of people wouldn't even know what a micro-credential is. Just unpack that for me for a moment.
Yeah, sure. So a micro-credential, think of it as a smaller chunk of curriculum. They're usually 20 to 30 hours of curriculum courseware. Our modality, we teach it online. It's instructor-led. If you miss a class, it's recorded. It's really meant to be flexible and in a time span that allows people to work while also get educated. Typically, it's a broader brush on a topic. So, we'll talk about quality assurance and quality control today, but it could be artificial intelligence, cybersecurity. And at the end, you get a certificate to show that you completed the course and something you can use as you move forward. So it's really about, empowering skills that might be gaps today.
And Neil, what are your thoughts on this whole micro-credentialing approach?
So I think it's crucial. I think it's important. It allows a lot of the folks to upskill in opportunities that they previously haven't. For me specifically, the courses that I'm doing, it is courses that I'm very interested in, and it's something that I wanted to do, but I've kind of put it on the back burner. You say you'll get to it, and now that they're offering this micro-credentials, I've got the opportunity, and now I'm kind of I've got a time span that I have to do it, so I'm getting forced to do it. But actually, it is something that I wanted to do.
Neil, specifically, are you in the middle of one right now? And if so, what is that?
So I'm doing a QA/QC course. It's with regards to QA/QC, software QA/QC. With my background, so I've got electronic engineering background and in business. I've worked in companies, from all shapes and sizes. So the bigger companies will have a dedicated QA/QC role. Smaller companies, specifically startups or other smaller companies, they won't have a QA/QC role. And you would find that the smaller companies that doesn't have those QA/QC roles or backgrounds, and then that they've got a gap there in delivering their products where they're probably lacking in quality. So for me, it's something that I was always intrigued in, and if I didn't do this, I would have had a little bit of FOMO, fear of missing out. So that's the reason of me doing that.
Well, we don't want anybody else to have any FOMO. So who are these courses really kind of best? Who's your ideal candidate, Ajay?
So for the different courses, there's a bunch of different ideal candidates, but QA/QC, that one's more focused around software quality assurance, quality control. So product managers, engineers, people that want to enter the software sector. A lot of times, I know when I was doing engineering initially, testing is the place where you generally start off, and this is a great entry point into a software career. But also, just as Neil was saying, I have a foot in the startup world as well. Building reliable, secure products is really important. So any smaller company that wants to be competitive with our curriculum, they can also say it's IQSTB certified. So it's an industry standard. So targets for that course are generally more software oriented. But I'll just add to that, if you look at artificial intelligence and how that's transforming everything, we're seeing uptake from across every sector.
Wow.
So it depends on the course. Most of our courses could target a lot of different people, and we can get into that.
Yeah.
But for the QA/QC one's a bit more specific in terms of entering the
Easy to
software world.
access the courses?
Absolutely. So we have a QR code you could just scan on, www.keyin.com. You go directly to the website. Very easy to get access. A big thing right now as well, these courses are typically $3,000, but through government funding, they're free.
Wow.
So right now, today, until March 31st, they're free. We are running out of seats, so we do want to promote that, if you're interested in doing these courses, register now while seats are available.
And Neil, that's a great offering, a free micro-credentialing there. Great to see government, industry, academia all working together to upskill the economy. Neil, what are your kind of final thoughts on this whole digital transformation, micro-credentials, and being in this whole workforce right now? What are your final thoughts?
So I think for me the key is being able to do all this remotely. I'm sitting in Corner Brook. I'm on the West Coast. On the West Coast, locally, job-wise, there isn't a lot happening. But with these credentials, it enables you to do remote work. And the key with this, for example, living on the West Coast, you've got a great access to the work lifestyle balance. Literally on the backside of my yard, I can take a snowmobile on ATV and I can go into the woods in any direction, which is pretty amazing. And I mean, if you are stuck in a job in a big city, you just don't have access to that. That's just what makes this so great.
Yeah, it sounds great. I love the fact that these courses are offered so widely across Newfoundland. And clearly, we have somebody here taking advantage of it as we speak.
Yeah, and just to add to that, it's a really great point. I mean, this is available anywhere in Newfoundland and Labrador, and because we do online, it's very easy accessible. So it's meant to be available, equitable for everybody to have access.
Yeah, I love the whole conversation, fellas. Thank you very much for being on the conversation and giving us a little insight into the micro-credentialing and this whole digital transformation that we're about. And I can tell you this, when those turbines start turning on the West Coast, there's going to be lots of jobs for everybody. Thanks for being on Gale Force Winds.
Thank you, everyone.